So today we're going to step into something pretty unsettling. A real-life mystery pulled right from the pages of a case file that seems to defy easy explanation.
Yeah, it forced some seasoned investigators to confront things they probably never expected.
And for this deep dive, we've got some really intense sources. We're talking excerpts from a lead investigator's own notes. It's titled "The Graveyard Shift, A Detective's Nightmare." Gives us his perspective, his observations.
And alongside that, we have critical witness testimony from someone who survived an encounter. Really powerful stuff.
Right. So our goal here, our mission with these sources, is to really unpack this story as it was documented. We're not just retelling it.
Exactly. We're looking at the details, the language used in those notes, in the testimony, trying to see what insights we can actually draw from a case that, well, it seems to break all the usual rules. We'll trace the narrative step by step, mostly from Detective Rajan's perspective as he recorded it.
So think of it like you're right here with us, okay? Leaning over Detective Rajan's desk, looking at these handwritten notes, the typed reports, the interview transcripts, trying to piece together what exactly happened in this small South Indian town. What do these specific details tell us?
It's a chilling puzzle.
Okay, so let's start by setting the scene. Based on Detective K. Rajan's notes, he starts the narrative in the office of the local mayor, Mayor Pillai.
And you can almost feel the atmosphere described in the notes.
Yeah.
Small office, sun-baked, that smell of old paper.
Yeah, but more than that, the notes stress this palpable sense of desperation hanging in the air. Rajan comes across as this very seasoned detective, right? Built his career on facts, evidence, procedure, grounded. But even he apparently felt the weight of this case right from the beginning. Something was off.
And the mayor's concern was focused on 3 specific case files. 3 men, Dr. Anand, Dr. Rao, Dr. Murthy.
Pillars of this town, that's what the mayor called them in the notes. Men who were absolutely vital to the community.
And all vanished over the last 18 months. Just gone, no trace, no leads, nothing.
So Rajan's first step, standard police work really, is looking for a pattern. His notes focus on that.
And the pattern here, according to the sources, was stark. I mean, unavoidable.
3 respected doctors, all gone, all lured out late at night. And the pretext, always the same. A medical emergency.
It's fascinating how the source shows Rajan's thinking here. He immediately flags the vulnerability tied to their job.
Right, there's a direct quote from his thoughts in the notes. A medical emergency. It's a perfect lure. A doctor's oath is a weapon you can use against them.
Which shows his initial mindset, doesn't it? He's thinking rationally, cynically even, looking for a human predator exploiting a weakness. That's his baseline.
But despite that sharp start, his usual methods were hitting dead ends. The sources really emphasize his frustration. No bodies, no suspects.
No conventional evidence at all, really, beyond that deeply unsettling pattern.
Until, as the graveyard shift notes detail, there was a break. And it came from a young doctor, Dr. Ilaiyaraja. The notes just call him Dr. I.
And the source description of Dr. I when he came forward, wow, pale, hands trembling, clearly traumatized.
But his story, however wild it must have sounded, Rajan noted it down as the first real break because it offered details. Strange details, yes, but things that could potentially be checked.
Finally, something concrete, even if it was bizarre.
Exactly. And his testimony, which we have excerpts of from the case file, that really becomes the core narrative here. So let's walk through his account, piecing it together from the source material, seeing it as Rajan must have heard it.
Okay.
So Dr. Aya's story starts with this insistent knocking. Late at night, the sources mention his grandmother was hesitant to wake him.
Understandable.
But the man's voice outside was desperate, claiming his wife was in a terrible, possibly fatal labor.
And right there, the source highlights Dr. I's motivation. He hears that cry for help, feels that weight of responsibility. He might be the only hope for Miles.
It goes right back to that doctor's oath Rajan mentioned. So despite the hour, the darkness, this unknown man, he grabs his medical bag. The source really underscores that sense of duty, pushed him out the door.
Okay, so he goes out. What was the night like?
Yeah.
The source describes that.
Oh, yeah. The testimony paints a picture. Pitch black, monsoon clouds hiding the moon. He couldn't see the man's face at all. Just a silhouette, wrapped in a veshti. That's a traditional South Indian garment.
Just a shape in the dark.
Exactly. And the man kept apologizing, but his voice. I described it as raspy almost. hollow. The notes specifically use that word, hollow.
Hollow. That's
And-
unsettling, even before anything else happens.
Right. So they start walking, assuming they're heading to a nearby house or village, he knows. But then, the source says, the guide takes this sharp, unexpected turn.
Okay, where to?
According to the testimony, straight into the Christian graveyard.
Into the graveyard at night. Wow.
Yeah. Dr. I's reaction, the record says, was immediate. He stopped dead, just froze.
I bet. What did the guide say?
He gave an explanation, plausible on the surface. My house is just on the other side. It's the quickest way.
Quickest way through a graveyard at night for childbirth. Doesn't sound right.
Well, Dr. I's mind was apparently racing. The source captures that conflict. It was weird, totally unorthodox, maybe even disrespectful. But the guy sounded desperate, claimed it was urgent, so he followed.
Reluctantly, I imagine.
Definitely. The testimony emphasizes the tension just ratcheted up. Every little sound, a snapped twig, an owl hooting, it was all magnified in this, oppressive silence. The source really builds the dread there.
Okay, so this is where things really shift, isn't it? Where the case goes beyond just suspicious circumstances.
Absolutely. They go deeper into the graveyard following this figure, and eventually they reach the only working lamppost in the older section. That's another specific detail from the source, one single point of light.
And Dr. Ice figures this is his chance to finally see who this guy is.
Exactly. He turns his head, tries to get a look at the guide's face in that dim lamplight, and according to the testimony, he saw nothing.
Nothing? What do you mean nothing?
The testimony is incredibly specific here. He could see the clothes, the vesti, the shawl moving like they were on someone. But where the head and the hands should have been, there was just only the night air.
Wait, so invisible head and hands, but visible clothes.
That's what the source says he reported. He could apparently see the tombstones right through where the figure's body should have been.
Okay, that's impossible.
Yeah.
How did he react?
His recorded words are, panic, cold, and absolute seized me. You can just feel the sheer terror in that description from the source, that specific moment of impossible realization.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't panic? That's the moment the case file basically documents crossing a line into the truly inexplicable.
Totally. And it's his quick thinking, born purely out of that terror, that probably saved him. The sources detail his excuse.
What did he say?
He just blurted out something about forgetting a vital instrument for the delivery. Said he had to run back and get it.
Smart move under the circumstances.
Yeah.
How did the guide react?
This is another chilling detail from the testimony. The guide protested, said it didn't matter, don't worry about it. But his voice changed. Changed how?
Dr. Gonita, I described it shifting from that desperate pleading to a flat, cold command.
A command, not a request.
No. That sudden shift, according to Dr. Aya, just cemented his fear. He knew something was deeply wrong. Maybe not even human. So he dropped his medical bag right there.
Just dropped it.
Yep. Told the figure he'd be right back, turned, and just ran. The testimony emphasizes he didn't dare look back.
Yeah.
Just fled.
Wow. Okay, so let's shift back to Detective Rajan back at the station, hearing the story. His notes must reflect some serious conflict.
Oh, absolutely. The source notes his initial reaction was skepticism. I mean, naturally. Seasoned detective hears about invisible heads. You'd be skeptical too.
Of course.
But crucially, he also recognized it immediately as a first real break. Because, however unbelievable, it gave him things to check. A specific location, a sequence of events, physical objects.
Right, it wasn't just rumor anymore. It was testable, in a way.
Exactly. And the evidence they found. Well, this is where it gets even stranger, according to the sources.
What did forensics find? Rajan sent a team, right?
He did. They went to the graveyard, and first they found Dr. I's medical bag. Exactly where he said he dropped it, under that lamppost.
Okay, so that checks out.
But then, the footprints. The forensics report, included in the sources, is very clear. They found two distinct sets of footprints leading into the cemetery, side by side.
One set being Dr. I's.
Right. And the other set, the report confirms they just stopped. Dead.
Yeah.
Right there under the lamppost.
Stopped, vanished. No tracks leading away.
No tracks leading away at all. Just ended in the dirt. No sign of disturbance, no jumping, nothing. They just ceased to exist at that spot.
Okay, that's physical evidence that just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Footprints don't just stop.
Exactly. And that detail, coming from a factual forensics report highlighted in Rajan's notes, it's pivotal. It takes Dr. Al's impossible story and gives it this deeply unsettling physical corroboration that defies conventional explanation.
You can imagine how that would ripple through the town. Dr. I's story getting out, plus the other disappearances.
Oh, the sources described the fear just spreading like wildfire. Superstition took hold. Whispers started about a pishacha.
A pishacha? What's that?
It's described in the context as a type of malevolent spirit, or maybe a demon, specifically one known for preying on healers or vulnerable people.
Fits the pattern perfectly. The doctors.
Precisely. Now, Rajan, according to his notes, publicly dismissed all this. Just nonsense, folklore. He's trying to maintain order, find a rational answer.
But privately.
Privately, the sources reveal, it was eating at him. He couldn't just ignore the parallels with the other cases. The faint knock late at night, sometimes a witness saw a shadowy figure leaving, the gate found ajar later.
And they all lived relatively near that same graveyard you mentioned.
That connection also surfaced. All lured out, all vanished. The graveyard seemed to be a focal point.
So even though he was skeptical about ghosts, he needed answers. What did he do?
He made a decision, documented in the notes. He asked Dr. Ein to go back to the graveyard with him.
Back there? After what happened? Why?
His stated purpose was clear. Walk the path again. Search one more time meticulously for any rational explanation. A hidden trap, a detail missed in the first, maybe less focused. Search. Anything.
He was still hoping for a non-supernatural solution.
Right. So they returned at dusk. The notes described the atmosphere getting heavy, cold as the light faded. Perfect setting.
Rajan was armed, obviously, looking for clues. Dr. Aya must have been terrified.
Understandably so. Clutching a torch, basically reliving the worst night of his life. They walked that same path Dr. I described. Rajan scanned everything, tombstones, the ground.
Looking for a trapdoor, a ditch, anything.
Anything physical, but the notes state he found nothing but dead leaves in history. The rational physical search yielded 0.
So they get to the lamppost again, the spot where the figure vanished.
Yes. And as they stood there, the sources say, the lamppost flickered on, casting these long, eerie shadows. Dr. Amini pointed to the exact spot, his breath catching, still visibly shaken.
And then, don't tell me something else happened.
And then, the next terrifying element, as recorded in the notes. From the far end of the graveyard, they heard a sound drifting towards them.
What kind of sound?
A woman's cry, a sound of pain, distress. The sources quote the words they heard. Help me, please, my baby.
Oh no, the exact same lure again for doctors.
Exactly. And the source captures the conflict in Dr. Emmy, his doctor instinct screaming to help, but overridden by the sheer terror from before. He was frozen.
What about Rajan?
Rajan, the cop, reacted instantly, drew his service revolver. The notes say they moved towards the sound, but eerily, it seemed to come from all directions at once. Disorienting.
Where did it lead them?
The crying stopped near a huge, ancient banyan tree. The sources describe it vividly, roots like tentacles swallowing old tombstones. And when the crying stopped, just this profound, unnerving silence.
Okay, my skin is crawling now.
And then a new sound started. Soft, rhythmic, digging. Someone was digging.
Digging. In the graveyard, near the tree.
Yeah. Rajan, all detective now, despite the fear, signaled for silence. He crept around the massive trunk of that banyan tree, weapon ready.
And what did you see? The notes describe it.
They describe something that for Rajan must have shattered his whole worldview. First, he saw a freshly dug, shallow grave.
A grave?
Empty, but freshly dug, and placed neatly beside it. 3 tattered medical bags.
3. Identical to Dr. I's.
Identical. Chilling proof right there of the fake of the other missing doctors.
Oh my God. And the digging. Who was digging?
Standing over the grave, the sources say, was a figure, shrouded, indistinct, kind of wavering, moving with these jerky, unnatural motions.
Wearing the Vestian shawl.
Wearing the familiar Vestian shawl. And as it slowly turned towards them in the dim light filtering through the trees, it revealed no face.
No face again.
The notes use the phrase, just a dark void.
Okay. I need a breath here.
And then, the voice. But the sources are very specific. It didn't come from the figure. It seemed to come from the very air around them.
And what did it say?
It addressed them directly. Another doctor. Come to help.
Chilling. How did Rajan react to that?
Pure police instinct, apparently, even facing the impossible. He raised his gun, yelled the standard command, "Police, don't move!" But the notes mention his voice was strained, shaking.
I don't blame him. Did the figure react?
Not in any normal way. The sources say it dropped the shovel silently and took a step towards them, but it wasn't walking. The notes emphasize it was gliding over the ground.
Gliding? Oh, man. Dr. I must have lost it.
He let out this choked cry, yeah. And Rajan, he fired his revolver.
He shot at it. What happened?
The shot echoed like thunder. But the bullet, according to the notes, it passed straight through the figure's chest. Hit the banyan tree behind it with a thud.
Passed through it.
Clean through that, yet they didn't even flinch. No reaction, like it wasn't solid.
Okay, this is beyond anything. What did it do then?
It raised an arm, just a suggestion of an arm inside the clothes, and that voice whispering again from the air around them. Your science cannot save you from sin. You try to cheat death.
Right.
But death always collects.
Directly challenging them, their profession.
Yeah. And then it attacked. The sources say it lunged.
Dr. Rajan. He had the gun.
No, it lunged directly at Dr. I.
Oh, God.
Did he get him?
Rajan reacted instantly. Pure instinct. He shoved Dr. I hard out of the way, putting himself right between the doctor and this phantom.
He shielded him. What happened when it hit Rajan?
As the shape passed through him, the notes detail this experience. An unearthly cold, piercing agony. Like his breath was stolen, his blood froze, he just collapsed.
Passed through him, too.
Yes, and as he was falling, his mind was flooded with these horrific, ghostly images, flashes of 3 terrified men being dragged down, screaming without sound, into the earth. The sources describe it as this non-physical, almost psychic assault.
Unbelievable. What happened after it passed through Rajan? It just vanished.
Yep.
Gone. The graveyard fell silent again. The only sound, according to the notes, was Dr. I's panicked breathing and Rajan gasping for air on the ground.
So it just disappeared, leaving them there.
Leaving them with the grim evidence, the shallow grave, the 3 medical bags beside it, a silent, terrifying testament to whatever had taken the other doctors.
Rajan must have known then. This wasn't a normal case.
His notes reflect that realization. The detective who only trusted hard evidence knew this wasn't something he could solve with forensics or arrests. No killer to catch, no conspiracy. He wrote that he had stared into the face of a mystery far older than the law he upheld, confronted by the truly impossible.
Wow. So what did they do? Just leave?
His final actions, as the source recounts them, are really quite moving in their resignation. He managed to get up, shaking, looked at Dr. I's horrified face, and his quiet words were just, "Let's go, doctor. There's nothing more we can do here."
Acceptance of defeat against whatever that was.
Complete acceptance. The official report, of course, would just say, missing, presumed dead, case unsolved by normal means. But Rajan and Dr. I, they knew the truth they'd faced.
And the sources mention the impact on the town, especially other doctors.
Yeah, that's the final chilling note, the lasting fear. That hesitation any remaining doctor might feel before answering a late-night knock. That frozen hand on the doorknob, listening for that specific, desperate, hollow plea in the dark.
The call of the graveyard shift. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the story we've unpacked, drawn straight from these incredibly detailed and frankly terrifying sources, the detective's notes, the witness testimony. It starts as a missing persons case, something procedural.
And spirals into something completely unsettling, breaking every rule Rajan understood.
And what's so compelling is that clash, isn't it? You have Rajan's very grounded, rational approach.
Smashing head-on into something utterly inexplicable. And it's not just folklore. The sources present this as documented experience, recorded by the people involved trying to make sense of it.
It really makes you, the listener, think, doesn't it? How do you deal with a threat, a problem that operates outside all the rules you know? When you're training, your logic just fails.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows that documented point where rational investigation met the possibility of something truly beyond our normal comprehension. It's recorded in the files.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If you heard that desperate knock late at night, someone claiming a life was in danger, would you open the door?